started the funeral immediately. Now, when you can't get a police report and your cousin comes on to you, and suddenly too, she stands very close to you and acts like you're the oldest cousin, they haven't seen you in a long time, but then she starts coming on to you. And then they start a religious ceremony immediately, and I mean immediately, suddenly, as she's doing this, it has an effect on you. I almost fell over. I was about to say, stop being silly, Katie, because I needed to talk to them about the things that happened down south. But they started that funeral, and it was sudden. Now, when you witness an injustice, and now, it's been 2 years, so they force you to fall in love with your own cousin. Who would do this to somebody who's been already a witness of abuse in the South and unable to obtain a report? When you've tried to make a police report and you haven't had success, it's very frightening to ever try again, because you've been slandered and you know that they'll be used and turned against you. You'll be made out to be a liar, just like any abuse victim, and you'll be discredited, and you'll be locked up as mentally ill. That's how they keep abuse victims quiet, which is what's being done to me now. And emotionally, I'm traumatized. I can't speak right about the abuse, and I have to marry my cousin because after 2 years, that's the only way to undo the trauma that's been done to you in this way. Again, I'm a former Embry-Riddle Flight Instructor. I flew the Seminole, the Mooney, all the planes there, and I don't go around telling people flying stories. But my cousin Shannah also, not just Katie, who I just told you about, asked for a flying story from me. She asked me to tell everybody what I was doing on 9/11, and then she came on to me too, in a church again, using sort of her body. She did it in more of a kind of a sexually seductive way than my cousin Katie, and then left me traumatized there too. I really don't know what to do. We worshiped God since children in the church. My cousin Katie motioned towards the altar with her high heel shoe, saying, "Take it up with God, I want to marry you." Now that's what we have to do. People are people. People can't heal from abuse like that unless they go through with what was asked of them. When people are trying to help other people, that's what they do. I can't even file a police report. I'm in such fear. I don't know what else to say. But I pray every day, and I know that God will come through, because it was at that altar. And if we don't actually have a wedding there, then that altar being abused is what Southerners wanted to see us do. And they want to cut our lines of communication, hit that cornerstone, which is the church. But, I mean, when I was little, that's one thing. But when they hook you in your worship of God, that's the most heinous kind of abuse. After all these years and after all that you've been through, people laying down their lives in Christ for you so that you could go through and succeed the way that you did for your family too, and then they have them do this to you. We need your help.